During the time period from September of 1823 until 1841, there was only one large nation in Central America. That large nation was named the Federal Republic of Central America, and it consists of what is now Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica, as well as very small bits of Mexico. And it's something that's worth talking about, it's worth people knowing about, and I want to take some time to ask people who watch this YouTube channel, people who see this video, what sort of questions they have about that period in Central American and Latin American history. I think that this is something that's worth talking about and it's worth starting conversations about because it's a time period in Central America that at the very least in the United States isn't taught particularly well unless someone gets to go to college, and even then it can be a bit tricky to try and learn about this time period. There are resources that exist that cover this time period, and some of them I'm going to be linking in the description of this video, so that way people can on their own start to research these topics and start to learn more about them. But I also understand that people don't always have the time and the energy to go out and do their own research on something that they're not super interested in. So as someone who is definitely very interested in this topic, I would love for people to ask me questions about this time period that I can research and that I can use as the inspiration for future videos, as well as for immediate comment responses. I think it would be awesome to have conversations talking about Central American history in general and this specific period in Central American history, because this specific period is the start of a lot of what would go on in Central America later on. And that's worth talking about, it's worth knowing, because there are periods in Central American history that people know about. For instance, there is the Civil Wars in the 80s. There are also the time period when William Walker took over Nicaragua. People know about instances in Central American history, but they don't understand the context and the situations which eventually led to those massive episodes and those massive explosions of violence and chaos. I think that people deserve to know about these sorts of things, but I also understand that people have busy lives and that if it doesn't directly affect you, and a lot of this doesn't, then it's difficult to find the motivation to go and learn about these things. But that's one of the neat things about being a content creator and someone who hopefully aims to educate people on YouTube. I want to act as people's friend and as people's educator, someone who can provide information that people wanted to know but didn't have the time to look up themselves, didn't know how to go about researching, all of that stuff. I would love to go and assist people in learning about Central American history, which is why I'm creating videos talking about Central, South American, and even Caribbean and Latin American in the United States and abroad history. There's a grand history here that people don't know about, and it's difficult for people to go and find this information on their own. It's difficult for people to go about researching things that they didn't know. And that's part of the reason why it's important that teachers and other less conventional educators continue to work hard online and in more traditional mediums to educate people. If you have questions about this period in Central American history, feel free to let me know. Feel free to comment in this video. Feel free to share it to any forums for people who are looking for this kind of information, so that way they can see it and they can also comment on it, and that way we can have a conversation about what we want to talk about in the future. A lot of what I want to talk about I already have planned out. I already have the next couple of videos scheduled. They're going to be talking about stuff like flags and specific instances in history. And I know that those are very different things, but I talk about a lot of different things, and you can check that out by checking out my other videos. If you guys have any questions, obviously, as I've said before, leave them here so that way I can answer them both in the form of a comment and I can mark them down for future things to address in other episodes that I have planned and in other times that we're going to be getting together and talking about these sorts of things. I hope that you guys have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys on Sunday if you watch my other videos, and if not, I'll see you guys in a week. Have a great weekend, and as usual, like the video, comment on it, and if you haven't already, subscribe.